Hi, it's Christina from the Sisyphean Journal. And especially pro-choicers might be a little surprised to learn that I'm not a pro-life activist because I developed some kind of fetus fetish somewhere along the way. There are really two reasons that I became the activist I am today. One is insatiable curiosity, and the other is an extremely low betrayal tolerance. Today's the first of a 7-part series on how it is that I became an activist. So we're going to start today with laying the groundwork. Now, I didn't grow up in an activist family. I wasn't surrounded by any kind of pro-life or pro-choice talk about abortion on a routine basis. My first real awareness of unborn babies, of course, was that my mother had 3 children after I was old enough to be paying attention and notice mommy's pregnant. There's a baby in there. The baby comes out. So the baby that was in there was my little sister, and then it was my little brother, and then it was my other little brother. This was something that you just didn't question. And then when I was in 2nd grade, I found a library book that had pictures in it of prenatal development. And I was absolutely fascinated with this. I took it up to my teacher and asked, could I show it to my classmates? And I went around, look, this is what we looked like before we were born. So there wasn't this distance. Unborn children were unborn children. They were one of us. But of course, in 2nd grade, I had no concept of abortion. It was just, this is what happens when the baby's in the mommy and then comes out and it's a new brother or sister. My first awareness of abortion came in the early 1970s. I was taking catechism classes. My dad drove me to class. And one day, I was coming upstairs from the classroom, and my dad and the pastor, who was friends with him, were having a conversation. I could tell the pastor was trying to warn my dad that, there was a child present and we needed to stop the conversation. But my dad just said, no, she's mature enough, she can handle it. And he continued to talk about the plight of nurses at Magee Women's Hospital in Pittsburgh, and how they were very distressed working in the abortion wards that they had to haul baskets of candy apple babies to the incinerator. And interestingly enough, the real emotional pull of that for me was for the nurses. I felt really bad for them because to me, nurses were kind and gentle and motherly people. And the idea that they were faced with baskets and baskets of scalded looking dead babies was just horrifying to me. For some reason, who would do that to the babies didn't enter in. It's who would treat a nurse like that really sank in. And then there was just the rumor going around in school that one girl had gone to Pittsburgh for an abortion. It was just a rumor. I never verified it, but it was, there in the background. I went to a very small rural school, and 2 girls, not necessarily both in my grade, but 2 girls while I was in high school, got pregnant out of wedlock and had their babies, and they were pretty much shunned. And I knew that they had not made that trip to Pittsburgh to bail on their babies. So I made a point of being kind to them and not shunning them. Because it was still these girls that we'd known since grade school. And I couldn't understand why somebody would turn on them. Maybe having sex outside of marriage wasn't a great idea, but they were still moms, they were still our classmates, and they were looking out for their babies. And there was one other awareness of abortion that came into my mind, and that was hearing my dad say that my mom's OBGYN had to just stop doing abortions himself and started referring patients who wanted abortions to Pittsburgh. And that was because he just couldn't handle that dichotomy in his mind of, with a normal pregnancy, that baby is a valuable patient. The mother loves the baby. You're taking care of the baby. You're nurturing the baby. You're doing everything you can to protect the baby. He couldn't make a switch back and forth to, okay, this one we kill. So all of that was just kind of there, present in the back of my mind when I went away to college. And that's when I took biology of sex and things really got interesting.